of the American Legion Post 21, Vietnam Veterans of America Chapter 767, and the Southeast All Airborne Chapter. Since retiring, he has made it his mission to continue to tell the story of veterans to the students and adults of the area in the area of Kenosha. Please join in giving Sergeant Al Vittori a warm central welcome.
Thank you very much for inviting us today. It's nice to be among all you young adults. We were once your age a long time ago when this was country land. Man, if you come up to Paddock Lake, it was a 2-lane blacktop road. You were way out in the sticks past 30th Avenue in Kenosha. You were out in the sticks hunting at that time. But this is the 11th month, the 11th hour, the 11th day, signifying the end of World War I. They call this Armistice Day. Until 1954, President Eisenhower signed it into Veterans Day, and we've been celebrating it since. It's a day set aside to remember those who have gone before us, those that are serving now, and those veterans that are alive today. I have two of my cohorts here sitting to my right, Gary Vittori, tours in Vietnam, one with the 101st Airborne Division and one with the 82nd Airborne Division, and my nephew Josh Walker. 3 tours in Iraq and Afghanistan, served with the 101st Airborne and with Ranger battalions. And I myself served with the 82nd Airborne Division, Ranger Company, Vietnam era veteran. I did my time in the Middle East, and we did some time in Southeast Asia too. My buddy and I were in high school like you guys are right now. 17 years old, I was not a good student. I started in parochial school with nuns beating the tar out of us, but different day and age. So we decided one day we didn't want to sit in school much longer. The basement of the post office was right across the street from Mary D. Bradford, so we enlisted. The military draft was going on as well during Vietnam. So we volunteered 4 times. Once to go in the U.S. Army, once to go to jump school to be paratroopers, and 3rd to go to Ranger school to be Rangers, and 4th to go to Vietnam. And the dropout rate amongst our group was very high. After Ranger school, you start out with 200 guys, you probably end up with about 10 that make it through the training. I was one of those short little guys, weighed about 135 pounds, that sooner be dead than not make it to my training. A lot of us guys came from immigrant families. What price freedom? Our parents and our grandparents came over here in poverty. In their countries, in Italy, Brazil, South America, Mexico, all over Poland, in those countries there, they lived under tyranny. I know my grandparents and my folks worked on tyrant landowners' land. Their pay was 1 loaf of bread a week, lived in shacks with dirt floors. And they said that was enough. We're going to come to America. At least if we break our tail ends here, we might have a chance. Which they did, and they died about 2 steps up. But my dad was a combat veteran of World War II, served in the U.S. Army. He went from Normandy to the Rhine, fought in 5 major battles. Never talked to me much about it until after I got out of the service. And then I read the book about it. That man went through hell along with the rest of the division as well. Liberated a concentration camp in Germany. He said before they got to the concentration camp, you could smell the foul odor of dead bodies miles away. Something was wrong. By the time they got there, they said it was horrible, what they were about to see. People of the village and the towns at that time had 20-foot bushes, like we have in America, between each other's houses and fences. They They said, we don't know what was going on over there, we haven't got a clue, which they were lying through their teeth. We could smell it miles away, you people had to smell it here. So what they did, they got the people of the town and the villages together and said, now you clean it up. Not a pretty sight to see. We want to keep our freedoms in this country. There's no other way to live. No other way to live other than freedom and peace. We're the only country in the world that has a Constitution, Declaration of Independence, and the Bill of Rights. And I don't know if many of you probably don't know who helped form this country very strongly. It was a fraternity of men called Freemasons. Freemasons, freedom. There's something like 9 signers to the Declaration of Independence and 7 to the Constitution that were Freemasons. They're still around today and still practice freedom. Our forefathers knew what it was to live under their tyranny. We were a British colony at one time, and we didn't have any rights or benefits. So at that time, they got the guys from the farms, the blacksmiths, the leather makers, took up arms, there was militia, and fought to get the British out of here. So they wanted to establish something to make us free and keep us free. You see that beautiful American flag up there? That's a symbol to the rest of the world of freedom. It's the most blood-soaked flag, sweated flag, and tearful flag in the world for how we fought for freedoms. When you get in combat in the thick of things, and you're in there with your buddies, there's no way out. All you have is each other. To us, at that point, here's what the flag represents. The white is the color of the gauze bandages before it gets to us. The red is the color of the blood that we shed. The blue is of our hearts and minds because of the horror of war. And the stars are in our folks' eyes waiting for us to come home. When you're in there, like I said, to think of things, all you have is each other. You got to live with that the rest of your life. If your buddies get blown away or wounded, it's not an easy picture. There's no getting over combat or war. We all suffer from post-traumatic stress disorder to a certain point of it. You learn how to live with it. That's the difficult part about it. Not easy. But we came home during Vietnam. We didn't get a hero's welcome. We didn't get any welcome at all. So we grew our hair long and our beards and our chops, put on the bell bottoms and t-shirts, and we still didn't get along because we didn't fit in. Nobody wanted to hear about it. Nobody wanted us around. And part of the reason the only door that was open was a tavern door. And we didn't have any VA hospitals or benefits at all at that time to get us in there. They say as many as 58,000 on that wall, Vietnam Vets wall, came home and committed suicide. As of today, I will give you the real stats on what's happening. Close to 22 veterans a day from World War II to present are committing suicide in this country. 1.5 million are living in poverty. 67,000 are homeless, 10,000, close to 10,000 which are women with children. Those are what the media should be telling us. I always say you can make another newspaper out of what the media doesn't tell us. We have to be aware of the facts and reality of what's going on out there. But we wouldn't be here before you if we didn't think that you guys had great hope. Because if you're taught right, you'll learn right. And I retired from the school district in 2011. For 15 years, we've had this program going in the school district. We're part of the curriculum at different schools. We go into elementary schools for Veterans Day and Memorial Day. And we do the high schools for study conflict, which is from January to June. So we start out with World War II, and every year it's sad because I have to cross out more names with more World War II veterans that passed away. There's close to 1,200 a day that are dying. My dad is still alive, he's 92, so I bring him with me. And I bring his photo album also, which I redid for him. He says, what should I tell him? I said, Dad, what did you tell me when I was that age? Okay. Works out very well. We go through classes, seminars, presentations, field trips, all for volunteer. We're still serving our country in a different way because we know we've been to those countries where there is no freedom, where kids your age are already dead, poverty, swollen stomachs from starvation, anger, hate. We don't want that to happen in this country, so you have to be educated properly so it doesn't. And like I said, there's no other greater country to live in with that. We have to go by a Constitution and Declaration of Independence and the Bill of Rights. Right now there's a big attack going on freedom of speech, and us veterans don't put up with any of that. We sooner fight to switch at that point. So we have to keep in mind what Veterans Day is all about, what Memorial Day is all about, and not give up to fight for our freedoms here in this country. Let's hope we never have to pick up arms again to go to battle each other on the same country that we live in. In World War II, over 405,000 American boys were killed in action. That's not counting the wounded, the post-traumatic stress disorder, or the traumatic brain injury. Korean War, over 33,000 American boys got killed in action. In our war, 58,000 American boys got killed in Vietnam. Then we had Grenada, Panama, Desert Storm, and we got Iraq and Afghanistan now. Now that's not counting the wars before that, to preserve what this country is supposed to stand about. And like I said, we live with those scenes and horror scenes every day of our life. We know the price to pay. It's a dear one to pay on top of that. And coming from immigrant families, like I had said before, the struggle was 3 times harder getting in this country. We had no government programs, no federal programs to help us. Our folks and grandparents just brought us up to work and work hard, but they enjoyed the freedoms. My dad has a 7th grade education, but between the lines, that man was a brilliant man. He taught us and taught me that the price for freedom is not free. He didn't have to come out and tell me about the horror of war. We already knew that. World War II wasn't that far away when we were in grade school. It just had happened not too long ago, less than 20 years away. But it was fresh in their minds yet. So before I want to leave, I want to thank all of you for listening. You're great students. You look great. You look healthy. This is a beautiful school. Enjoy being here, no doubt about it. And hope to see you in the future if you become part of the curriculum here at the school. We're trying to work on it now with your principal, and we'll be back. Thank you very much for your attention, your comments.